welcome to another episode of Do Go On, the relatively new comedy podcast with myself, Dave Warnicky, and I'm here with my chums, Jess Perkins.
Hello.
Hello, Jess, and of course, Matt Stewart. How are we, Matt?
Good, thanks, Dave. Thanks for, I was going to say having me. Thanks for me. Oh.
Remember when you said, oh, I think you should do the intros every week, Dave? And I was like, oh, maybe we should all have a go at doing the intro. Well, I'm glad that you convinced me that I should do the intro.
Well, you reckon? I'm feeling like I'm warming into it.
You're really getting into this? Well, this is the podcast where...
We're gonna keep that? Yep. All right, great. No, I think that's fun.
No worries. It's great. It's great to have you on your own show.
Hi, Matt. I'm here too.
Oh, hey, Jess.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks for coming in.
So, hold on.
Thanks for having me.
Who's hosting it then? If you're a guest and so is Jess.
It's a vicious cycle.
We're all guests.
We are all guests. Everyone is a guest tonight. If you are listening to this show, welcome.
I'm your guest. Jess is my guest. You're Jess's guest.
Yeah.
This is like a game of Guess Who.
Oh.
That sucks. This is the show where we take it in turns to prepare a class report to present to the other two people, research one topic and sort of try and educate the others about something. And this week, Matt is going to be presenting a report to Jess and I.
Yeah.
And we have no idea what you are about to talk about, Matt.
So we normally start an episode with a question.
That's right, because we're all big trivia peeps.
That's right. That's
Big into
how
the
we got into this.
World of trivia, that's right. In one way or another, we work with questions and such.
Yeah. So the question I want to ask you guys, which is the answer is the topic I'm going to talk about. My question is, what is the biggest failure in Australia's history? What's a big failure? Big Australian failure?
Tony Abbott.
Ooh.
Tony Abbott from Jess Perkins. Electing him, that is a big failure, but I would probably say, I reckon Gallipoli, the Gallipoli campaign.
Great one.
Gallipoli's probably
Absolute disaster, and it was not the Australians' fault.
that's probably a better answer than what I have.
Oh, okay, right.
What have you got?
It's not. So we're not going to talk about Gallipoli?
No, not Gallipoli, but it is an historical failure. Called.
Is it part of the First World War? Like
No,
Gallipoli?
No, it's not the First World War. It's pre-First World War.
Oh.
So at the time, it was much bigger failure than Gallipoli, because at the time Gallipoli was just a nice coastal town.
But, okay, well there you go.
Hadn't failed at anything.
No, that's right. Gallipoli was
They were all success by then.
was a gem.
Yeah, a real gem. I guess it still is for them, because Australia were the ones who failed. Gallipoli bloody kicked it in the dick.
That's right. Turkey did pretty well.
Okay.
I'm going to stop
In another
guessing.
way.
I think, okay, Jess and I are clearly wrong.
What do you guys know about the Burke and Wills expedition?
Oh, I have heard about that, and I don't know too much, but I know it ends badly.
Yeah, it's not good. Well, actually, I know my dad always, if anybody says they've walked somewhere or how you're going to get somewhere, I'm just going to walk, Dad will always go, ugh, you know what they did to Burke and Wills?
Really?
Yeah, it's a great joke.
So in a way, they were a success, because
That's
they
right, they
ended up in a Perkins,
Yeah.
Mr. Perkins.
Family phrase.
Yeah. So there you go. Good on them.
Good on
End
'em.
of episode. Come on, everybody. Let's go to the pub.
So I looked into this a lot about a month ago, and I haven't thought about it much since then. So I'm going to hopefully give you a sweet report still.
Great. I don't think in the month that the report will have been redundant, considering the events happened 150 years ago.
I'm hoping no new information has come to light.
It's come to light. Oh, actually, it turns out that they had a great time.
Yeah.
All right, so let me take you back.
To what, 1850?
Right, 1850s, that was when gold was found in Victoria, and it kicked off a big gold rush. Melbourne basically pretty much didn't exist at that time, but by the end of 1852, there were 90,000 new people in Victoria searching for gold. Right? So Melbourne had a big boom. It was around that time when it got the nickname Smelbourne, because their sewage wasn't very good. Do you know that?
I did not know we had that nickname. That's amazing.
Yeah, there was all open sewage.
Oh.
And a big boom in population meant a big boom
In
sewage.
boomers.
I found a quote, "In the block bounded by Great and Little Burke Streets, Elizabeth Street and Swanston Street, there is a space of upwards of 100 square yards hitherto occupied. That's how you know it's old, because I said hitherto. Hitherto occupied by a green, putrid, and semi-liquid mass, partly formed by the outpourings of surrounding privies.
Oh, God. So that's right in the middle of the city. Did you say
Yeah.
100 yards? Oh,
Ugh, filth. But anyway, we've come a long way.
that's right. Now, these days you just have those old horse and carts
Yeah, I was
walking down
gonna
Burke
say.
Street,
You
shitting
walk past
everywhere.
one of those.
That's the worst thing you're going to smell in
What a
Melbourne.
weird... That is weird that we've hung on to that, right?
I think it's bad for the horse.
I don't... Well, who wants to go around Melbourne slowly? Like, that's all you get is, like, a really slow trip around Melbourne.
Well, I think Jess Perkins' dad, because he wants to avoid
Yeah,
walking,
avoid walking.
because look what it did to Burke and Wills. If only they had a horse. They probably had a horse. We'll get into that, I imagine.
Anyway, despite all that, all the cash floating around from the gold made Melbourne a real destination for some of the world's biggest and brightest.
Yeah, great. People that were cashed up and didn't want to spend money on plumbing the city.
Yeah, Melbourne, for a little time there, Melbourne was like one of the big cultural centres of the world. It was a hectic little time, and
But it probably wouldn't have got the title of the world's most livable city back then because of the shit everywhere.
probably not. They did solve that problem not too long after, and Victoria's capital was dubbed Marvellous Melbourne around that time.
Ah, that's better. Better than Melbourne.
Cash just flowing around, and they were getting stuff done. So around that time, Melbourne was starting to think, let's put ourselves on the map here. Let's do something big. We've got all this cash.
We've got all this cash. We've got a lot of shit. What can we do?
Let's do something with it. And that's where the idea of this big expedition came about. In 1858, interestingly, Queensland wasn't even a thing yet. It was still New South Wales. Do you know that? New South Wales pretty much was all of Australia for a little while, and then slowly other states chipped away at it until it became the little
pretty
blob it is
small.
now.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So it used to be all over the
Victoria
place.
was in New South Wales, South Australia, Northern Territory. That was all New South Wales. Western Australia was there pretty early on, and Van Diemen's Land and Tasmania was.
But wow,
nearly
everything
everything else was New South Wales.
Yeah. Big New South Wales.
Cool.
Yeah, anyway, was that interesting?
Yeah.
What I'm going to try and do is give you some real interesting tidbits.
Hey,
like that.
please.
That is
Please.
the point of the show.
Please
So-
do go on with those tidbits.
Oh,
Jess, you're going to have to lower your brows because there's more coming, okay?
Okay,
You
I'll
need-
try.
You can't take them any further higher than that.
You can't hold them up for an hour.
It's ridiculous, Jess. You're being ridiculous. I'm just sort of trying to put you in the time there. Queensland wasn't even a thing. We're going a little while back. Melbourne was only 23 years old, and Victoria only 7 years old. So Victoria was New South Wales. Melbourne was in New South Wales initially. That was something I didn't know.
I had no idea. My goodness.
Australia was still 43 years away from federating, as you know, in 1901.
One. That's right. Good. Testing us.
And the vast majority of European settlements were on the coast, which is still the truth.
Still the case. Yep.
The Philosophical Institute of Victoria was keen to set up an expedition. So they were a big group of scientists and just intelligent Melburnians, basically, and Victorians who wanted to make their mark. So they set up this idea, but they didn't have the heaps of money that was needed. Heaps of money was required.
Heaps.
Heaps.
They didn't have enough.
They didn't have heaps. And in 1859, the Institute received a royal charter and became the Royal Society of Victoria, which still exists today. It's still got a building in the city somewhere. You can go visit if you want.
Oh, there you go. The Royal Society of Victoria.
A wealthy
RSV.
Yeah. A wealthy member of the public named Ambrose Kite
Ooh.
donated £1,000.
Now that is a name. Ambrose.
Ambrose.
That's a real good
Bring
one.
that back.
And £1,000.
£1,000
That's
is
a
heaps.
lot of
That's
money.
a heap
Yeah, that's
of money.
150 years ago.
But it's not quite the heaps they needed. After that, he said that he would only be able to give the $1,000 if they were able to raise another $2,000 from the public.
Oh, that's like the original Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Basically. He's
Like,
sort
if
of-
you get your stretch goal, I will contribute another £1,000.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Or like the Good Friday appeal where they say, we'll give you this money as long as you can get Aggro and Phelpsy to do 15 push-ups live on air, singing the national anthem backwards or something like that. I don't know if that's a thing.
Sorry,
but
guys, I only did 14. We're going to keep the $1 million.
Yeah.
The hospital is going without this
sorry,
year.
hospital.
Sorry, kids.
But it took
Sorry, plain Phelpsy.
it took a year. So it took a year to get that 2,000.
And how were they raising the money? Were they just on the
Donations,
street?
So yeah,
Just
it was,
I imagine they're rattling like coin boxes, but back in the day, people are just depositing like little gold nuggets that they just found.
Little
Just
nuggets.
chucking it in the box. It's like, oh, it's £2,000 worth of gold, which is a lot of gold.
That is a lot of gold.
So, but eventually it took them a year, but they got the 2,000.
They did get the 2,000.
So then
that-
Ambrose has kicked in his 1,000.
They gave them 3,000 altogether. And then with that 3,000, they took the Kickstarter to the government and asked for an extra £6,000, which was approved by a guy in the government who was also on the committee.
Oh, there you
Ah.
go. Classic government right there.
How handy.
So they're up to £9,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, so they have got the heap of cash that they required. I'm using a lot of what I'm using here is Dave Phoenix's history. He wrote a brief history, which I'm leaning on pretty heavily here. I mean, it's a really entertaining story. So I've so far
So we
been
come to the
able
right
to
place.
suck all of that bit out of it and just give you the facts. I don't want to end it.
Hey,
I need to entertain.
we need a bed of facts to get going. So they've got £9,000, and what is the point of the like? What do they want to put themselves on the map in what way?
Well, at this stage, there's no record of anyone crossing Australia from south to north coast.
Oh, so they want to go all the way from the bottom
They
up
want
to
to be
the
the
top.
first to do it.
All right.
Around the same time, South Australia are organising their own one, so it becomes a bit of a race. They've got this guy who's quite experienced, named John McDowell Stewart.
Another
He's
solid
a
name.
South Australian Scottishman, and he's been around, so he's a pretty handy explorer.
So he's a leader of the Adelaide Party, and they're trying to go from Adelaide north, are they?
Yeah, so there's a slightly different path, but they've still got
Got the same goal.
same goal, and they've probably got different challenges. But
From
anyway,
west.
I got this. Dave Phoenix gave a few different reasons for the expedition, which is what you were sort of asking. I was saying it's a scientific expedition that would discover new species, new discoveries of gold and minerals, new and fertile lands for grazing, the extension of the boundaries of the small colony, the establishment of a telegraph line to London, and the pride of being the first colony to unlock the secrets of the interior.
Ooh,
I love
like
that. The
last
pride.
one,
The
that's it.
pride. It's all about pride.
Unlock the secrets.
But it's now, I think, like those other things were kind of just to sell it to people. Going,
That's
"Nah,
right. The government aren't going, yeah, it'd be pretty great for us if we did this. The government are like, oh, I'm not going to give you £6,000. Oh, how about a telegraph line to London?
Yeah.
Sold.
Yeah.
You've got
we
the money.
We might find gold, and you can have cows out here, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now we're talking.
You can call the queen. Ooh.
Ooh. Secrets of the interior. Now that sounds like a little bonus.
And pride.
Ooh. And pride for you and us, because we funded it.
So they were good to go, right? They were all good to go. All they need now is a group of people
Oh,
and a leader.
So the people raising the money are happy to get the money and plan their thing, but they don't want to do it themselves.
Well, yeah, it's not that kind of thing where it's like we did it. They go, we organised this. It's our thing, you know. It's still their thing to be proud of.
Sure.
And it's for the colony. It's for Victoria, this brand new colony, 23 years old.
Yeah.
7 years old.
Yeah,
Melbourne was
really
23.
close.
It's a really new colony, and it's just something to say, hey, look at us, Victoria, we're sick, or something like that. They probably-
That is
No, I reckon that's what
Not
they
yeah,
so
said.
many
definitely
words.
a direct quote.
Yeah. Look at us, we're sick.
Sick. So they put together an exploration committee, and their main goal at the start was to find a leader for the exhibition. Pretty important role, obviously.
Yep, sure.
Their initial choice was the South Australian Peter Edgerton Warburton, but they were also considering a guy called A.C. Gregory and another guy called William Blandowski.
Oh, Blandowski. I wish they'd gone. Burke and Blandowski is
Bill
much better.
Blandowski.
Got a better ring to it.
There was a debate that went on for months over this, and
I want Blandowski, damn it.
yeah,
I wonder
so
why. Like, why would you care so much who was going to... Not care so much, but, like, if these people wanted to do it, why not just let them do it? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, why? Like, no, I
Just
don't
set
reckon
them
he
all off.
should.
Yeah.
Yeah, just off you go.
Well, I think it's the leader's making all the decisions, and
Yeah.
and we'll find out as we go that it's pretty crucial who the leader is because they can make some really good decisions.
They can.
Potentially.
Don't like your use of the word can there.
They could if
Not
they,
promising
if
much
they
for
were
our-
able to. Well,
Our faithful
I'm
leader.
foreshadowing.
Oh, fair enough.
Ooh,
So,
bit of sizzle.
A bit of sizzle, yeah.
so because we haven't heard of the names A.C. Gregory, Blandowski, and that Adelaide guy before, am I to believe that they were not chosen?
That's right. It was at some point, at a meeting at some point, exactly on the 20th of June 1860, they had a vote where Robert O'Hara Burke came from the clouds, got 10 votes, Warburton 5, and no one else got any votes.
Gregory
Oh.
Blendowski out. So
Yeah.
Burkus, I just kicked down the door and said, "I'm here."
Yeah.
Burke in the house.
Do you guys know anything about this guy, like his history or anything?
For some reason, I assumed like Burke Street was named after him, but now
I always thought as well, but it wasn't.
It was there before him, so that's disappointing.
Although, there's been a few little things named after him, but yeah, I always thought the same.
Little Burke, maybe.
Yeah. Because Burke Street's spelled with an O,
slightly small.
right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Should
Oh yeah,
Dave,
he's Burk.
Anytime we get to Melbourne specific, you should probably talk to our interstate and international.
All right, so
listeners.
Burke Street's the main street of, pretty much the main street, like the mall where trams can go and pedestrians can go, but people can't in Melbourne. So it's one of those, it's a, did I say people can't? Or
Yeah.
cars? I meant to
People
say.
can't go there. Pedestrians
No.
can.
Pedestrians
If you're a
can, trams can,
pedestrian-
but cars
You're an
can't.
animal pedestrian,
It's one of our most famous
which
streets.
most of them are. Not many animals have their car driving licenses.
Well, possums, but anyway. Another one for our overseas listeners. And so just a big street. I honestly also thought that it was named after him.
Yeah, but you're right.
Robert
The
Burke.
spelling's different.
yeah, it's with an O, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Anyway, so he was an Irishman. He was born in 1821.
Ireland is a country in the northern hemisphere for
Yeah.
our overseas listeners. So 1821, right on.
in Galway County.
That's where I'm from.
Are you really from
Well,
Galway?
not me personally, but my family. Yeah, from
Yeah,
Galway.
cool.
Yeah,
Oh, well, there's a connection.
cool.
You got any Burkes in the
No,
family?
I don't think so. You
could have
yes.
been related to
Yes, then.
real
You could have been
estate.
related to the guy that Burke Street is not named after. So
What could have been? Instead, I only have to claim bloody Kieran Perkins.
is he actually related to you?
Well, I claim he is.
Oh, right on.
Right on.
Right on.
Kieran Perkins, a champion Olympic Australian swimmer,
Right.
2-time gold medalist.
If we could go back to Robert O'Hara.
Sorry,
for a
so
Pardon me,
sorry.
not Kieran. Kieran Perkins was not on this expedition,
he
but Robert O'Hara Burke was.
He lived quite an interesting life. Just see if you can spot the one thing he hadn't done.
Okay, okay.
Well, there's probably a few other things, but one key thing he hadn't done
He
at this
never
point.
tried pineapple.
he never learned to
probably true.
walk.
That's a problem. That's his.
You go on this walking expedition.
Like,
That'll be fine.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be right.
He
Yeah.
went straight from crawling to sitting and just stayed in the chair. Just stayed there.
Just dragged himself around.
It was a long 6,000-mile journey from Melbourne to Queensland. Robert O'Hara Burke crawling, refusing any help from the party.
I'm sorry, Matt. Do go on.
So he at the age of 20, he joined the Austrian army as an Irishman. I
I'm an
don't
Irishman.
fully understand that.
Okay.
A rite of passage, maybe, for that time. Who knows? So he's in the Austrian
So
army.
the
I can
Austrian
accept
army for a
that.
while. So he was there for a few years. Then he headed home to Ireland in 1848, where he joined the police force.
Okay, so he's in his 20s now. Yep.
Yep. And then 5 years later, in 1853, he came over to Australia for the gold rush.
Mm-hmm.
But he ended up becoming a cop in the Victorian police force as well. So at this stage, got some good experience in the army and as a policeman.
Perfect. Good.
Nothing about walking or exploring
Okay.
so far.
Well, okay.
So he's done
But
no
leadership skills.
Leadership skills,
Maybe.
but no exploring
No exploring.
at all.
And it had not explored at all. I mean,
Hang on,
he got on a boat to Australia.
That's a bit exciting.
but he's never crossed a continent as vast as desolate as Australia.
I think he caught a train once across parts of Europe. I like this. He's working as a cop in Victoria, right? The Crimean War broke out.
Sure.
So he jumped on a ship. He's like, I want in.
I want in.
I
I care
want in
about
on
the
this.
Crimea.
Jumped on a ship, headed back, but by the time he got there, it was too late. The war was over.
The light brigade was charged. It was all done.
So he jumped back on a ship, came back to Australia, and rejoined the police force.
So he's just spent what I'm imagining it takes a long time to get the
Quite a
Crimea. Then maybe he's just spent the 9 months on a ship
so
going
frustrating.
there and back.
So frustrating.
He didn't get to kill anyone. God, what a waste
What a
of
real
time.
what a bummer.
What a
Yeah.
bummer. No one was murdered by Robert O'Hara Burke.
So he came back to Victoria, rejoined the police force, quickly rose through the ranks. So, like Jess said, he showed some sort of leadership skills. But it was, at the time, it was a quickly growing population.
So they just needed
Yeah.
people.
They
They needed
people.
cops.
And he was around the Castlemaine district, country Victoria.
Oh.
And then in 1860 is when he took leave to lead the exploration. He just took leave.
Did they put an ad out or something? Is that how he just applied and...
I think that's basically how it was.
Just put it on Gumtree.
He
On a Gumtree.
Yeah, they actually nailed it to a country.
But what about the other guys? Were they more qualified?
Yes.
Great.
Great. So they're going, what the fuck? You've just chosen some Irish cop.
So that's Burke. He was first in charge. Second in charge was a man named George James Landells.
Oh.
Landells?
Not Wills.
Oh, no, Wills.
Oh, we'll get to Wills, will we?
Wills wasn't second in charge, no.
Okay. So James Landell, second.
George James Landells. He was born in Barbados.
Ooh,
exotic.
Yeah. And his family lived, they moved around a bit in Barbados, Jamaica, Gambia, and England before he moved.
Well, I don't know if anyone knows geography, but there's a long distance between Jamaica and Gambia, which is in Western Africa.
Yeah,
it's a long way. And then up to England, okay.
Then up to England, and then to India in 1842.
Well, he's travelled a lot, but has he explored before?
Well, his big thing was because they made a decision with this exploration that because they were going through some pretty full-on desert terrain, well, they thought it was, they didn't know a lot about it, they were going to bring in camels, so they brought...
And that worked out well, didn't it?
Yeah, look, I mean, it was important because they definitely did help. The camels did help them get through some deserty places.
That's right. Well, but
like the desert.
But if people don't know, Australia has the largest population of feral camels in the entire world.
Yeah, I haven't checked. I wonder if any of them come back from that. I think they ended up eating most of them. I don't know if they just let any of them go free.
So later on they brought in more camels, and because now they had to have a big cull because there was close to 1 million.
Really?
1 million camels in the middle of
I don't
Australia.
think I've ever seen a camel.
And they would... You've never seen a camel?
I'm sure I have. In fact, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure... Yeah, I have, because there's one at Chesterfield Farm. Anyway.
Oh, right on.
I went there last year as an adult.
But they've brought in some camels. Good.
But he was the man who was sort of in charge of that. He was sent out to India to purchase the camels.
Oh, he's camel man.
He's the camel man, and that's kind of why he was chosen to be second in charge, is because his expertise with the camels, which was seen as a real key point in the success or potential success of this expedition. Right on.
Right on,
You're
camel
loving
man.
right on today.
Right on, camel man.
Like every time you say it, Matt just lights up like he's so
I'm
excited.
going to say it a lot more now.
Right
on.
on.
Right on.
I'm echoing it every time you say it.
Yeah.
If you've noticed.
Okay, so we've got a second in command.
Yep.
That's our 2IC, yep.
So the vice captain.
Yeah.
He was hailed for his travels through the very unsettled lands by the English Scindian newspaper. Scindian. Let's say Scindian. And similarly lauded in Melbourne, where the exotic animals caused a sensation. This is a quote from our man...
David Phoenix.
David Phoenix. Bloody hell, you're a good...
You're on
Warwick.
today, yeah, well done.
I'm a big fan of the Dave Phoenix band.
Apparently, when the camels were brought to Melbourne, they were paraded through the streets.
Oh, that is
And they caused a real sensation, as did their handlers, who have been identified variously as Indians, Sepoys, and Malays. Sepoys being Indians serving in the British Army. Is Sepoys right? Bloody hell, this is scratchy. But...
It's fine. It's fine.
But those handlers, that small group of handlers, which was about 5 dudes, I think, 3, 4, 5 dudes.
Yep.
It's not that clear. It's so funny that they were just not seen as being important enough to document, even where they're from.
So there's a lot of info about the camels.
But they were the people who were handling the camel.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for them, the camels, I don't know, would have gone rogue or something.
Rogue camels.
Which they did later.
Oh, exactly, that's right.
Yeah,
That did not work out well for the middle of Australia.
If only we'd paid more attention to these handlers.
To our
What could have been?
Sepoy / Malaysian /
Who do you think was third in charge?
Is it Wills?
It's got to be Wills. All right.
Number 3.
And you guys know Will's first name?
I do, because it is so ridiculous that it's one of those things that it's... Can it be real? I think that his name is William Wills.
No.
Yeah, William
It
Wills.
is.
William John Wills.
Because I was thinking John, so maybe I'd remember his
Willie
middle name.
Willie
Wills.
Willie Wills.
Which is very similar to a character Jonathan Schuster plays, Willie Wheels. Have you ever seen that?
No, I have not seen that. Melbourne comedian Jonathan Schuster. There you go.
Anyway, Willie Wills was born around 1834. I love old Oh my God!
Old
Can someone
records.
talk for me?
When people
Old
don't
No,
records.
this is your thing.
When people don't know when people are born, it is fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like a whole year. You couldn't even get it down to one whole year.
Somewhere
Especially
in there.
someone who's quite important.
Yeah,
and
that's
still
right.
Talked about.
Someone who was third in command.
So he was born in Devon in England, and his family moved to Australia in 1853. And at first, he assisted at his father's practice in Ballarat before studying surveying and becoming an assistant at the astronomical and magnetical observatories at Melbourne under Professor
Ooh.
G.B. Newmayer.
Wow, so he's got some experience being an assistant.
But
He's going to be the third assistant.
in a lot of cool fields as well there, though. So he was very good at surveying, which was a very important. He was actually very handy. So second and third in charge.
Probably more qualified than number one.
Well, definitely very handy at least.
Okay.
To have
Yeah.
on board.
But you know what? I reckon Burke just had he had the confidence. You know, he had that spark,
He
stage presence.
That's well, no. I think that from a bunch of different accounts that I've read, that they do talk about that. Very charismatic.
Yeah, I was gonna say charisma. Yeah.
He's probably attractive man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to make that assumption.
Big beard, you know.
Bit of a ladies' man.
Yeah.
Bit of a...
Don't worry, ladies. I'll be back in the summer.
Yeah, I'll be back. Just wait for me. Wait right here.
Sorry, I gotta go walk through the desert. Bye.
Bye.
What's that new phrase you've brought out?
Right on.
Right on.
Right on. Oh, indeed. On the 20th of August, 1860, is go time.
It's go time and show time.
Go time and show time. Yeah, that's right. They assembled in Royal Park, Melbourne, in Carlton, and the men there were instructed on rifle shooting and caring for camels.
There's the two things you need to know, boys. Do
So
we need to
they
know how to read a map? Nah, just care for this camel.
And shoot a gun in case you
But
don't
don't you-
care for the camel.
I love how it's just like on the day. We're about to
Yeah.
go. Before we do,
Here's
Yeah.
Here's a couple of tips.
2-hour crash course.
yeah, it's crazy. It
How
feels
to-
like
They're so underprepared.
I mean, they've been raising money for years and they haven't trained it. Anyway.
it just feels like, you know, that people talk about when things are organised by committee. They're always
Yeah.
a mess, and that is what this feels like. It's just a big old mess.
Big old party planning committee.
So along with the dudes are getting trained, right? And there's also up to 20 tons of stores amassed. 20 tons to bring with them. They're carrying 20 tons.
Oh my
with
God.
them. It's not a nice, lean, quick exploration up the centre of Australia.
20 tons. And who's pulling that? Wills.
Camels and heaps of horses.
It's on the back of
there's
Wills.
What?
So there was something around 20 odd horses, 26 camels, and 6 wagons.
Wow.
What?
I think you need supplies. They're going to walk a long way. That's okay.
Yeah,
I support this. I support this motion.
20 tons. Okay, I reckon you just take a couple less dudes. Anyway, look,
Just go solo.
hindsight is 2020.
Of course.
And I
So
don't-
easy for us to
That
say
may
that
not
now.
have
isn't
even
it?
helped. But on that afternoon before setting off, Burke fired a couple of his men for being drunk, and replacements were hired on the spot.
Oh my god.
Hey, are you drunk? You're fired. Hey, are you not drunk? You're hired.
You're in.
Oh man. Say bye to your mum.
Yeah, just so
We're
loose.
going.
I couldn't believe that.
Wow.
Do you know anything about camels? Well, neither did these guys. Let's go.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
That's right.
No
I mean,
worries.
they've done the crash course, but we can just teach you
Yeah.
as we walk.
We'll do it as we go. It's fine. Really, it was only a 15-minute presentation.
Yeah.
These Malayan / Indian Sepoy men, whatever they are,
Yeah.
I haven't taken the time to learn their names. They'll tell you how to clean up the camel shit. All right?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is, doesn't it? That just seems so bizarre to me.
Get in the wagon.
Well, somewhere I read online, they brought enough food to last for 2 years,
Oh wow!
which is way longer than they expected.
How long do they think it's going to take?
They were thinking months, not years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's good. That's good. I think that's good. that
I
they're
think
prepared.
maybe up to a year. So they had twice as much as what they probably thought. They did 80 pairs of shoes.
What?
So I think that's about 4 per man.
Wow.
20 camp beds, 30 cabbage tree hats, 57 buckets,
And a partridge in a pear tree.
brandy, preserved fruit, vegetables, and firearms.
God, they're living like kings. 80
What?
pairs of shoes.
And they're also so this.
They're not like it's
They're
not like
worse than women.
No. 80 pairs. It's not like Paris Hilton's collection though. It's
Yeah.
it's probably like
you
all
guys
work
are
boots.
worse than women.
It's okay that I said it.
Yeah, that
It's
does
okay.
make
It's okay. They said it in 1850.
Yeah.
But
And I'm being
And they
ironic.
also one other thing that was a bit different for the time. They would normally bring a lot of their food as living livestock, which is, I think, what livestock normally is living.
So yeah,
Might be one of the fundamental...
It's in the name.
Yeah, it is
Livestock.
too. That
Oh my
wasn't even what I... Yeah.
Yeah.
They decided instead to try out dried meat. So that's why a lot of the stuff they were... Like, livestock can walk itself, which is a pro.
sadly, salted beef cannot walk
Yeah.
far at all.
So that was...
But neither could Burke. Well, he never learned.
I
never
never
learned to
read
walk.
anything about Burke walking.
I have 80 pairs of shoes for some reason. I put them on my hands and crawl.
I'm imagining somebody like one of the Malay guys just dragging him. Like a Sherpa.
Everyone grab
this
a
a-
leg and an arm. We're going to swing him
Come
all the
on,
way
guys, come on. It's a team effort.
Put Burke in his sack. Start the dragging process. Then it's time to a camel and whip it. And he's still like shouting out orders. Turn left! Turn left! I said left! Left! God damn it.
All right, so they set off, all right? They've fired a couple of guys, got more guys on, done a quick training. They set off in the afternoon, right? So it's not a whole day of travel, but they set off in the afternoon. Where do you reckon they camp? Remembering they left from Carlton. They're heading to the north of Australia.
How far is the journey supposed to be?
There and back, I think it's 5,000 miles or kilometres. It would be miles.
Miles would
I
be
reckon they've
miles.
stopped in Fitzroy. Or Carlton North.
How far? So they
They
left in
did
the afternoon.
They did a little bit better than that, but not heaps better. They camped that night in Essendon,
Oh, my God.
How many kilometres?
which is where I now live.
Yeah.
And it's a 15-minute bike ride.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, my God.
And that's day
Um,
one.
I mean, they're a little bit further down the road. Say half an hour bike ride, maybe. But they've taken
Horses and camels, and they've taken a whole day to do it.
a whole afternoon.
I love that as well, that they're like, should we head off? Yeah, no, we'll head off to Savo.
Because it was a huge
After
thing. They had a
lunch.
huge send-off. Everyone, the majority of Victoria rocked up to the send-off.
And
So
you know
it was-
what's great? People then would have gone home, and then they could have like passed them
Yeah, they're walking
camping.
with them. Where are you,
Oh, there they
where are
are.
you guys off? Oh, yeah, we actually live in Essendon.
Yeah.
Trying
Hey, we saw you just before.
Yeah.
You're just getting here now. Oh, shit. All right. Good on you.
No, all right. Well, you know.
Looks like I had to fire a couple of guys, all right?
Yeah.
Give me some credit.
I got dragged here. Okay.
Speaking of, our man Dave Phoenix said that Burke's leadership was pretty full on, and he continued to alter his personnel, losing one of the sepoys 2 days out of Melbourne. He hired a cook.
Great, so we just left a sepoy who's probably never been to this country before in the middle of Victoria. Gone, see you, mate.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's ridiculous.
He knows probably little
No
English.
Yeah.
He's lost his camel friends.
Oh my
That's
god.
oh,
Yeah.
that's awful.
Good on you, Burke. Doing great.
Then he hired a cook at Mia, just on a whim. Someone, we should have got a cook maybe.
Yeah, hang on. We need
Well,
to eat.
Did they think this through at all?
It doesn't feel like it, does it? Then he hired a bushman with exploring experience at
There we
Chagall.
go. There we go.
Finally.
And then dismissed 4 more men at Swan Hill.
Oh my god.
Which is in the not even the left Victoria yet. So
Yeah.
they're still in the first state, and they're supposed to get to a third.
Yeah, that's right.
So they've
and
already-
back again.
And back again, and they've already lost, what, 5 men at least at this stage, plus the 2 they fired on day one, so 7 of the original crew are gone, but they've gained a bushman and a chef.
But don't worry, he replaced those 4 men with another 4 randoms, including a sailor named Charlie Gray.
Who's useless on land?
Sailor.
They got to say, they're like, we're going on this inland expedition.
He's like, yeah, this is my forte.
I know a lot about land.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there was a lot of comings and goings from the crew. Like there was a lot of and who are you? Sort of like how weird would that be?
You wake up every morning and go, sorry, were you part of the
Yeah.
group last night?
Who's the new guy?
What happened to Doug?
Sorry, we left him at
I
Swan
feel
Hill.
like they're underprepared, but they have too many. Like they've got way too many shoes and
Yeah.
too much food and too.
I'm
they're,
also
like, under and over
what if
prepared
you
at the
fire?
same time.
What if you
Right.
fire someone and they're a size 7, and then you hire a size 11?
That is really
Suddenly,
shoes for him.
they've got no shoes.
yeah. That was the kind of thing. It was like, do you have any experience? Oh, not really. What shoe size are you? 7. Perfect. You're in.
Perfect, you're in. You're in.
Here, have a pair of shoes.
So remembering
been-
these key dates because I won't. The 20th of August is when they set off.
Yep, I wrote that down. Yep.
The 11th of September is when they got to the Murray, the border,
Okay.
Okay.
and
So it's taken them
Couple of weeks.
And they set off.
Longer.
3
3
weeks.
weeks.
3 weeks to get to the border of the first state. Okay.
And from there, they set off into New South Wales. Right, obviously.
Yeah.
And from there, they turned left for some reason. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they accidentally did that.
Yeah.
They are extremely underprepared. Okay, so they're in New South Wales now.
So they're in New South Wales now, and there have been further personnel changes. Second in charge is now William John Wills.
What happened to the Barbados guy?
There
George.
was an incident when looking to cross the river. Our man from Barbados,
George James Landau, the camel man.
who's the camel man, he said the best way to get the camels across the river is via some sort of a punt,
Like a rafty type
a
thing.
raft type thing. And Burke said, no.
Hold on. What was Burke's idea? Let's hear what the camel man has to say. No. We'll do this. What did he think?
He said, Wills, you're swimming him across.
Willie, we need you.
Well,
Oh, Willy boy.
and his reasoning was that it was going to take too long to find the punts. They tried briefly and couldn't do it quickly, so he's like, no, we just have to forge on. Let's go.
And what does the sailor have to say about all this? Charlie Gray's like, oh, great, I can sail a camel. Nah.
Well,
Wills, swim him.
I can sail a camel. That's amazing.
I can sail a boat. I can sail a camel.
I can sail anything.
So yeah, so he
cracked it.
He cracked it and quit. And Burke gave Willie Wills.
What, as a reward for swimming with the camels?
He gave him second in charge.
And
as
did
a
the
reward.
camels make it across?
They made it, but yeah, he's like,
They got long
are you sure
necks.
you want to get them knackered before we even get to the desert? Like doing this thing that they're not used to doing, using weird muscles.
And he was like,
He's like,
yes.
Yes.
I'm Burke.
I'm Burke, hear me roar.
Yeah, he's pretty much he said, I'm Burke.
So he's like, who's in charge here, hey?
They don't call this the Burke and Landau expedition. Fuck off.
Fuck off.
Fuck off back to Barbados.
Yeah, so, okay, so skipping ahead a little, Landell's is gone, and they've started working their way up through New South Wales. It's been about 2 months since we left Melbourne, and they've got to Menindee. That same journey, at that time, would take the mail coach a fortnight.
Sorry. How long did it take Burke and Wills?
2 months, about 2 months.
They should have just got on the mail cart. Am I to believe that they're going like on this big journey with camels, all this stuff, and they've just every couple of weeks they see the mail cart just go past and like, hey guys,
Yeah.
Ding ding.
any mail for Burke? Yeah, got a couple of letters. Some cookies from your wife. Thank you. And they just keep going back and forth.
Part of me
how
hates
brutal
these
is that?
assholes.
What? Why did they not just start from Menindee on a coach? Like they had a big parade to set off these guys, but every morning these postal workers are getting nothing. No parades for them. Oh, that
my
is
God.
so funny to imagine. Just them, ding ding.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
You just feel like, it would feel like they're going past every couple of hours to you. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake, there they go. So they got to Menindee, and beyond there, it was pretty much unknown territory to Europeans. They'd sort of pushed their knowledge, Europeans had pushed their knowledge up to Menindee in New South Wales, but beyond there...
So is this sort of halfway-ish?
Probably not quite a third of the way.
Oh god. Oh Burke. Anyway.
So there's still a long way to go, but he's an impatient man. He wants to just get it done, and he's also in the back of his mind. He's always thinking about this man Stewart.
Oh yeah, because he's racing against the Adelaide Scotsman.
Yeah, that's
I'd
right.
forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going. We can't afford to be too slow, even though he's being super slow. He's like, we're going to have to pick up the pace from here, and that's when he decided to break the group into two, and that was against the orders of the committee who were funding the whole thing.
Well, I bet they're thinking that leader was a good choice. Good choice. He's not even listening to us anymore.
So when they first split the party at Menindee, they split it into one group, which was the fittest 7 men that Burke found to be the fittest 7 men. I don't know what
Imagine
kind of
the rigorous test
way
that he's
they
doing.
figured that out.
10 star jumps, go.
He also picked the fittest animals. Again,
This camel
star
seems
jumps.
virile. Yes, camel star jumps.
And only a fraction of the supply. So they became quite a lean operation now. Burke told the others that he would send for them later.
Sorry, I thought you were going to go like, Burke told the others to fuck off.
Piss off. You and your Barbados mate can fuck off.
We don't need yous.
It was about 10 days later he did send for them.
Actually, we need you.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you guys head on up now. We are ready for you.
It's like in a job interview. Burke will see you now.
About that time, he sent the new third in charge, William Wright, back to Menindee to collect the others and meet Burke at the depot, which they were going to create at Cooper Creek.
Right on. So the big supply area.
That's right. So they moved up to Cooper Creek, which is like it's the big famous historical base that they made for themselves. So at this stage, you've got the 7 guys up. One of those is heading back to tell the bigger group with all the animals and supplies to start heading up.
Great. So you really could have just gone with the whole group, but instead, the fittest 7 men will forge ahead. Then 6 of us will wait here while 1 has to go back, tell you to do the journey that you could have done the whole time, and then we'll continue on.
Yeah, that's kind of it.
So dumb.
Oh, that's just...
I'm sure that there's
And the whole time the
some
mail
logic in
coach
it,
is
right?
still zooming up and down. Just zooming.
Beep, beep.
In November 1860, about 3 months after leaving Melbourne, Burke and the other men that he still had with him established a depot at Camp 63, but that struggled, so they made another one at Camp 65, which is the famous one, which was just inside the Queensland border. So they'd made a little bit of ground in those 10 days.
And how many of them are at this Camp 65?
So this was the 6 of them with the 1 guy sent back to send the message. Queensland was now a thing. It had only just became a thing the year before, a state, a colony at that stage. It wasn't a state as yet.
Sure.
And Burke was expecting the other half of the party to meet them at any time from then. But after waiting for a further 10 days, he decided... what's Burke's thing? You know, when he has a brainwave, it seems to be one main thing. And that is to split the party once more.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
And
6 is too many.
They're just wasting so much time just sitting around waiting for 10 days.
Yeah, they wanted the supplies. So if the supplies could get there, so they have no idea what went wrong. It turned out they were having troubles, the big party. But not just physical troubles, but also like organisation. There was one guy who he basically demanded that his family get put on a train to Adelaide, and he wouldn't leave until there were all these.
He's holding the supplies hostage.
And he wanted a pay rise, I think. And
And I would like a flight to Cuba.
And a mango.
I love mangoes.
And they
he's
waited
saying
for a couple of months. So they're making some ground now. They're losing that huge thing they started with at the start. Maybe that could have started smaller.
I reckon. So how many are there now? They've split again.
They've split again. Now it's just the 4 of them.
It's just 4. So we've got.
So this breakaway group was Burke, Wills, Charlie Gray,
Who was our sailor?
He's our sailor, and John King. So they're the 4, and they've gone.
And who's
I
our
know
man?
what the plan was.
John King?
Kingy.
A 21-year-old Irishman.
Great, young.
And he was put in charge of the Camels because we lost the camel guy.
Oh, so he's in charge of Camels.
He's new camel man.
And he's no camel experience. He's young and Irish.
Although he didn't know much about camels,
Please finish this sentence.
he did speak the language of the handlers.
Oh,
So he could work as in.
Well, they assumed he could.
Yeah, exactly. So he
But why would a 21-year-old Irish kid be able to speak?
he came over on the boat with Landels. So he's a young guy. He's been through India and he's been hanging out with these guys for a while.
Interesting.
I honestly
That
thought
just
you were going to
jogged
say
my memory
that John King could speak the language of the camels.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
They've grown a lot.
I wish you could see your face right now.
This camel is tired. Also, he's hungry. That river really hurt my feet. I miss James Landell. I speak the language of the camel.
So yeah, that was he could speak. So he was basically able to go pass on messages from Burke to the handlers and back again.
Yeah.
Okay, so are the handlers still coming with the
The
four?
handlers, I think they've gone ahead sans sepoys.
Sure.
Um,
Sepoy's a fun word too, by the way.
It is. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. These poor bastards have done so much work to get this anywhere near
No credit.
successful.
Get
No
nothing.
names, just the sepoys. Not even 100% sure how many of them. One of them is in country Victoria going,
How the hell do I get home?
That's outrageous.
So on the 16th of December 1860, they set off from the depot at Cooper Creek for the Gulf of Carpentaria, which is the end game. That's the goal on the northern coast. Burke told the four men they were leaving at the depot to wait for 3 months. Wills quietly went over to him and said, "Better make that 4 months."
I don't trust this guy.
Well, he pretty much is like, I've kind of looked at this. 4 months is more likely. 3 months we'd be very lucky. Nothing goes wrong. We make it back in 3 months. More likely 4 months.
And what do they say? After 4 months, what do they do? Assume we're dead and go home.
Pretty much assume we're dead, or we've gone to a Queensland settlement.
And we set up new lives
Yeah,
as
exactly.
cane farmers.
What? Assume we're dead. Like, so guys, just sit here for 3 months. If we don't come back, just head home. Okay, bye.
And then Will's just like, make it far.
Love you, bye.
But they definitely had full confidence, especially Burke. He didn't
Too much confidence.
Yeah,
I
he
think
didn't
has.
think failure was even a possibility. So he wasn't like, he's like,
He's listening
if we
to
don't come back.
he's listening to 8 Mile on repeat. Success is my only option.
Yeah.
Failure's not. And Will's just like, yeah, 4 months.
Yeah.
Mum spaghetti's on his sweater
Yeah,
already.
all over.
So news got better for a little while. They found the going easier than anticipated heading north.
And Burke's feeling pretty arrogant at this time.
Yeah.
I reckon he's
Cock of the walk,
Bit of a
baby. Well, not of the
smug guy.
walk, obviously, but he's cock of the crawl.
that's right. He's still crawling.
Cock of the drag.
And luckily for us, Wills took extensive notes through this whole time. So we've got notes directly from Willie Wills. So this is from Wills's personal dear diary. He said, "We took a day of rest on Gray's Creek to celebrate Christmas. This was doubly pleasant, as we had never, in our most sanguine, which also means optimistic, moments, we just looked that up, anticipated finding such a delightful oasis in the desert. Our camp was really an agreeable place, for we had all the advantages of food and water, attending a position of a large creek or river, and were at the same time free from the annoyance of the numberless ants, flies, and mosquitoes." This is in paradise.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
The Christmas miracle.
So things were going great. Things were going real good. Burke was feeling real good.
And they lived happily ever after.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah. Right, Matt?
Matt?
It got harder from there.
Oh.
No.
Sorry about that. The Camels really struggled because they'd taken way longer than expected, so they were getting there during wet season,
Ooh.
which in the tropical north
Burke's
is
just like,
not good
John
news.
King, tell his camels to suck it up.
That's where Charlie Gray's sailing experience came into its own.
He's sailing a camel through the wet swamp.
Yeah, just through the mud and muck. So yeah, the wet season broke, and as they were approaching the Gulf, it made things incredibly tough. It was pretty much just being bogged. Burke and Wills.
Keep digging the camels
I
out.
got my camel bogged.
Burke made a decision.
Of course he did.
What do you reckon that decision
Split
would
the
be?
party.
Split the party.
Oh, no.
He
I'm
did
going
it.
to take the fittest camel and go on alone.
So he split it just to him and Wills.
Oh, my God.
And herein lies the Burke and Wills.
Yeah.
And he left King and Grey behind, and they forged on. But it was only 20 or so miles to go to the coast.
Oh, that's close.
Yeah, so they were really close, but it was getting so wet and so swampy and
Yeah?
that... I was
Don't tell me
looking for
they
a better
gave
word
up
than that.
20 miles to go.
No, that was when they split. So they kept going 20 miles in, and with approximately 5 miles to
Oh.
go...
Did they know that it was about
Yeah,
that?
they could just about see the coast. The water was now becoming salty.
Oh, so they could taste the
So
salt.
they could taste it. They were so close they could taste it.
They
so to
could
speak.
literally taste it.
Wow.
I'm so close I can taste it.
Um,
Oh.
but there they had to turn back. They just couldn't. They couldn't go on any further
I honestly thought Burke was going to split the party.
Oh man, that would have been too good. So they count that as making it. So they still see it as a success.
I reckon you've got to go in, have a naked dip in the ocean, and then turn around for it to count.
I kind of agree. You have to see sand. You want sand between your toes.
Yeah.
I reckon. You're going to have that
And your 80th pair of shoes.
yeah, an 80th pair of shoes full of sand. They took a pair of thongs in there.
Yeah.
Very good.
So at this point, at their very peak, 5 miles from the coast, they were 2 months away from when they'd left the depot.
Oh, so it's exactly halfway, because they said wait 4 months, right?
Yeah, Burke said 3 months, so Burke was being optimistic, but yeah, they said 4 months, so it was about halfway. Unfortunately,
Wills is feeling pretty smug, going, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I told him 4. Told him 4."
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, they'd gone through 2/3 of the supplies.
Okay.
From there, they dumped the non-essential items and
Sorry.
started the return journey.
What non-essential items are you carrying? What are
They
you?
were carrying like measuring equipment and different sort of
like
Will's scientific equipment.
He's
as
like,
well.
I don't need my Xbox.
Yeah,
This thing.
it was just like huge bits of metal. I think that they were bringing still some pretty heavy things. So they, and around this point, when they got back to the guys, so they met back with King and Gray, 15 miles back. Wills wrote this note in his journal in March 1861. He said, "I found Gray behind a tree eating skilligily."
Does that mean eating with skill?
No.
I think it's a thing called skilligily.
Oh, right. I thought it was that he was eating skilligidly.
So he was eating some of the supplies. He found Gray behind a tree eating skilligily. That's probably not how it's pronounced. He explained that he was suffering from dysentery and that he had taken the flour, it was a kind of flour, without leave.
So without permission, he'd gone into the
He'd
supplies.
gone into the supplies and was eating
I'm sick,
flour.
but I'm eating.
Yeah, I've got dysentery. I don't know what I'm doing. Will sent him to report himself to Mr. Burke and moved on.
Go and tell Burke what you've done.
Yeah, basically. And then Will says, he, having got King to tell Mr. Burke for him, was called up and received a good thrashing. There is no knowing to what extent he has been robbing us. Many things have been found to run unaccountably short.
So hold on, there's 4 of them.
Yeah.
The second in command has found the sailor eating too much. And then,
I liked Charlie.
So and then he says, "Go tell number 1," and then the sailor's got John King to tell the boss. Surely you're going to run into him. There's only 4 people at the whole fucking camp.
They're all in the same room at this time.
Exactly.
They're sharing a tent.
That's it. Just King, can you go tell Burke?
I'm kind of with you on this a bit, Jess, because it feels like Wills is the one writing this, and it feels a little scapegoaty. But I'll come back to that in a second.
So he's giving him a beating.
Yeah.
He's gave him
thrashing.
and different reports say to different levels. Some say to within an inch of his life, and some say, just a pretty good thrashing. So
boy.
around this time again, one by one, the camels grew weak and were abandoned. So some of them were abandoned apparently. So maybe
That doesn't sound good for him.
No, I don't think they're going. Yeah, let's bone and
Yeah, let's go. Hey, let's go to the middle of Australia and procreate 1 million times.
Yeah. So they're either abandoned or killed for their meat. In April, I haven't mentioned this guy yet, but Burke's favourite horse, Billy, they had to kill as well. So it was pretty tough.
Oh, Billy Burke.
And according to Wills, it was a good, healthy meat without an ounce of fat.
Oh, they ate his pet horse.
Yeah, they ate the horse. Well, tough times. They had no supplies left.
You do what you got to do.
And this left them down to
Guess
only
so.
2 camels between the 4 men, right? So to me, that's a key fact here.
Yeah.
So they're rotating between getting a ride, obviously, or drag. All right, now here's a fact that no one has disputed. I'm making trouble here. But on the morning of the 16th of April, 1861, they found Gray dead in his swag. They spent the day digging a shallow grave for him. Okay, so this guy Gray is now dead. All we know is that Wills says he stole some flour and that Burke bashed him. I'm thinking they've gone 2 camels, 4 guys.
Oh, God. Oh, that's not enough camels.
Gray's the old guy. let's top him. And then I'll just backdate my journal saying, oh, we found he's stolen some stuff, you know? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm with you. 100%.
I reckon Gray was a good guy.
I reckon he's the best.
He seems
I
like
like Charlie.
He's my favourite guy in the story
He's
so
my favourite
far.
guy.
He's
Burke.
a sailor.
Burke's a pain in the ass.
Burke's a real jerk.
Burke the jerk. They're definitely calling that behind his back. Burke, you jerk.
That's another key thing that'll come back to haunt them a little bit is that they spent a day digging a shallow grave. So they spent a whole day in the middle of nowhere, like
They
just
just
out of
don't
respect
move
for him.
fast, do they? They
Just
just it's a
Chuck
shallow
some-
grave.
Chuck some leaves on him and move on.
Come on, that's like a
So that's
couple
a whole
hours.
other day of food you got to eat.
Ugh.
It doesn't make a lot of
Gives
sense.
me the shits, these
Oh,
guys.
they should have eaten him.
So mad at them.
Yeah, it just feels like everything they do. It would be the
Ugh.
hardest movie to watch. No.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
What are you doing?
What are
Mate,
you doing?
what are you doing?
Come on. And he's not even like a lovable idiot. He's just an idiot.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Matt. Do go on.
I reckon, depending on the portrayal, he was charismatic. He may well have been lovable.
Yeah, I mean, Heath Ledger made Ned Kelly seem lovable, so
Totally.
yeah.
I was picturing Heath Ledger in the role.
Yeah,
of Burke.
yeah. And then I remembered that he's
Difficult
dead.
now, of course.
difficult, not impossible.
It reminded me of the scene in Ned Kelly when they
Hologram.
ate one of the horses. We were talking about that before, and you said they ate the horse. I was like, what? That happened to Ned Kelly.
He pretty much wouldn't have had to change the character either. Bearded Irishman.
Yeah, done.
Let's
Bit of a
move on.
jerk.
Maybe we could recut Ned Kelly to be the Burke and Wills story.
Yeah, I reckon. Orlando Bloom is Wills.
That works. He's
Yeah.
got a bit of the Wills about him.
yeah.
So we're down to 3 now. We're down to 3 in this
Burke, Wills,
splinter
and
group.
King.
King.
Burke, Wills, and King. The 3 men rotated between the 2 camels, so they were still getting a bit of a rest. Only one of them had to be, walk or dragged along at a time. They're heading back to the depot, right? Burke not only expected to be greeted by the group he'd left behind, led by a man named William
But
Bray.
he
at the
thinks that
depot.
they've left a month ago, right?
He also, yeah. Well, no, he just thinks they'll have waited because I know
It's
what
me.
I know what I said.
Yeah.
But they'll
It's
wait.
me,
So-
Burke. They wait for Burke. This
He-
guy's a jerk.
Yeah,
So
they wait for Burke.
So he's expecting them to be there.
So he's not only expecting him to be there, he's expecting to get a hero's greeting because
Oh,
he
but-
just clocked it. He just seen the north.
Oh, so he's walking in with his hands raised in the
Yeah.
air.
Oh.
He's doing like
Got it.
queen waves off the side of the camel.
He's expecting to go and they're going to be like, "Where's Charlie? Don't worry about that. We made it."
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
just nearly. I was 5 miles out, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Details.
I could smell the ocean, I think.
So he's not only expecting the small group that he'd left there, but he's also expecting everyone else to now
Oh,
be there.
yeah.
'Cause they
Oh,
had
right.
so much time. As it turned out, on the evening of the 21st of April, 1861, when they arrived, it was just over 4 months after they left. There was no one there.
Oh.
They walked into camp, no one there.
The depot was deserted.
Where did everybody go?
So have you heard of the dig tree?
Yes.
It's kind of it's a thing I'd heard of, which I never really knew what it meant. But it is basically a tree that they left a message on, etched in it said "dig here," basically.
Yep.
So as Burke found that note, he was expecting to have there be a big party and everyone be like, "Oh, our hero has arrived!" But instead, he just found this little note on a tree, tell him to dig. That's why it's called the dig tree.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He followed the instructions and he
Ah.
dug. What he found was a small box of provisions and a message that read,
Fuck you, Burke.
"Jess, do you want to have a crack? That's not quite right."
We've split the party.
Man, that would have made him proud though, right?
Yeah, he would have been
My
like,
boys.
oh, God, they did it.
So then the note read, "Depot, Coopers Creek, April 21, 1861. The depot party of VEE, the Victorian something expedition,
The Electric Light Orchestra.
that leaves this camp today to return to the Darling. I intend to go southeast from Camp 60 to get onto our old track near Ballou. 2 of my companions and myself are quite well. The third, Patton, has been unable to walk. I've got a bit of the Burks of him. Been unable to walk for the last 18 days, as his leg has been severely hurt when thrown by one of the horses. No person has been up here from the Darling," so the other group had never got
Hadn't
over
made
there.
it.
We have 6 camels and 12 horses in good working condition.
Oh, that's just a
William
brag.
Bray. Yeah.
So
It's a real brag.
that's the same day.
You just said
Yes.
April. You just said April 21 twice.
Yes.
They'd left that day.
The estimate is between 7 and 9 hours.
Oh my God!
Oh, no.
So, that's where you're saying that day that
They Buried, grey. If they just went, we'll just...
Or just took an hour to... It was a shallow grave. Just
a whole
dig a
day
bit.
for a shallow grave.
Just dig a bit, chuck him in. No disrespect to you, Charlie. I really like you, but a shallow grave's a shallow grave. They could spend 2 hours on it or all day on it. They spent all day on it.
It's at the end of the day, it's still shallow.
Yeah, they didn't respect you enough for a deep grave.
So basically they waited for 4 months and 5 days when told to wait for 4 months.
3 months even, and then make it 4.
And
they waited a little bit longer just to give them a chance.
Yeah.
And they missed them by 7 to 9 hours. That is brutal.
Oh my God.
And
That
if
is so
that had
brutal.
happened, they would have arrived to be greeted by 6 camels, 12 horses in good working condition, and a bunch of supplies still. So
now that all they have is a couple of supplies and a note that's probably
just
the worst thing you could ever read.
Oh man. What do you decide to do from there though? So one thing you would know from that note is that these guys are only 7 to 9 hours away.
You're not far behind them.
Yeah.
Do
I
you
reckon-
leg it and try and catch
Yeah, I
them?
reckon I'd walk all night.
Yeah, and he's given
Oh,
instructions.
yeah, of course, because they'd have to stop
They'd
and
probably
camp.
stop at night. You just keep walking.
And
And
he
he
said-
said where they're going.
Yeah, he
So,
knows where
so we
they're
told
going.
them where they were going. They decided against that.
They decided to just wait for 10 days, see what happens.
They sort of decided to split the group.
Yeah, split the party. Burke's like, all right, Wills. Oh, no.
So at this stage, they had very little supplies. They were really struggling. Burke had a few issues. Another one of his issues was that he saw Indigenous Australians being inferior to white man, and due to this, he refused gifts of food from the local Yantruwanta people.
Burke, come the fuck on.
I think he did take some, but he could have, he definitely could have. Anyway,
You know what? Whites weren't particularly nice to the Indigenous, so it's that they've turned around and gone, do you want some food? No, thank you.
yeah, I think we've got this.
Do you know who I am?
But what is sort of pretty funny about it is that he's like, I think we've got this, and then he and Wills tried to copy the locals, so they were sort of like looking at him, going, they're eating these things called nardoo cakes, and they're somehow prepared from some seeds from a fern, a local fern around here. Yeah, let's just try that. Let's try it without knowing any dangers of it.
We won't take it, but we'll just try and make it.
Yeah, that's right. We won't take it. The pre-prepared one's prepared earlier. We got this.
We
though.
got this.
And after a while, they found these ferns, and they did prepare some of it. What they didn't realise, if not prepared properly, it would prove toxic.
Of course it would. Of course it would.
Yeah.
This crucial information could have obviously been learnt from the locals, the Indigenous Australians, but instead, Burke and Wills decided to slowly die. They didn't decide, but they slowly died from starvation and chronic loss of vitamin B1, which is what the seed did. It would make you feel like you were full, and it would make you feel like you were eating enough, but your body,
Wow.
physically enough food's going in, but it's depleting your stores of B1. And means that, you just slowly die of starvation.
I don't know why I feel so bad. I've been eating so much of this berry. I think I'm going to eat some more.
So apparently, I don't know if you have any interest in how it goes. This guy, anthropologist and botanist Philip Clark, says that some of these foods, like nardoo, need to be collected once they've aged, so not green like they were picking it. But it also needs to be sluiced and ground up, and a lot of the toxins washed out. And even after that, it needs to be baked just to make sure. So they're
about 5 steps off.
there was
eating
a bunch of stuff that they weren't.
It's like
quite
trying to make a
able
cake by putting eggs and flour in a bowl and going, well, that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
It was a cake.
So they died separately. Wills told Burke to go on, or vice versa, and they sort of moved on a little bit, and Wills
They
died.
split the party.
Yeah, just with a gun in his hand, sort of died, and it was all a bit of a messy end, and they all died. Those two just died by themselves. Burke and Wills just dying of starvation alone. One of them had gone off from the other.
Yeah. fucking Burke.
Better news for John King. He was
Kingy.
He was the only one who made it all the way to the top who survived.
Wow.
Although he didn't, he was 20 miles short, but he basically made it to the north. And he decided to search for the local Yantruwanta people, and he basically just made himself a hanger-on. This is what one account by a man named Philip Clark we were talking about before. He said that King basically made himself a hanger-on of the local Aboriginal camp and sort of just refused to leave them alone. Even
like,
though at one
"Go
point
away."
they were intimating he should stay behind and not follow them.
And him pretending he didn't understand.
Sorry,
Yeah, I will come with
don't-
you.
I don't
Thanks.
know.
I'll have some more fish. Yeah.
What?
But this guy King, obviously not like Burke, didn't see them as being inferior, saw them as being the only people who were comfortably living there.
Yeah, that's right. They would know nothing about this land. They seem to be living off amazingly
But
well.
he hung around long enough that they adopted him into their clan and ensured that he survived.
Wow.
Yeah, so they saved his life. Apparently he lived with them for several months and just enough time to strike up a relationship and have a child.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So he really got into the community.
Oh, he did.
And do you reckon he's
got into the community.
he's probably picked up the language because he's a bit of a linguist because he knew the...
Oh, true.
That's like he would know. He knew
True.
English, and then he picked up the local Indian language when he was there.
Yeah,
So he's
so
probably
he-
a pretty good at picking up language kind of guy.
I think, yeah, maybe. I think when you immerse yourself in a different language, right? It's meant to come on a lot quicker
Yeah.
when no one else can speak English.
That's right. And you're like,
Or
well,
very
this is the only
little.
way I can communicate with my wife.
Yeah, that's right. And our son. No, but he left before the son was born.
Oh, what a dog.
I don't know if he necessarily knew that she was pregnant.
Oh.
He's like, oh, condoms or whatever. Nah, but
Oh, it did not work out.
Wills died at the rock star age of 27.
Ah, Willie Wills, the first member of the 27 Club.
Yeah, so the 27. So I've written down a few of the other ones. Do you guys remember any of the members of the 27 Club?
Yeah, Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin.
Amy
um,
Winehouse.
Yes,
Amy Winehouse is there.
Winehouse.
Brian Jones from Rolling Stones.
Yes. Man, you know all the key ones, basically. You
Uh,
got Robert Johnson.
Oh, Robert Johnson,
Blues
the
great.
young.
But yeah, they're probably all the keys. Weird aside. Just to wrap it up, I guess.
So King, he moved on, but he did live.
Yeah, that's
Just
right. And and he
Wow.
came back and lived back in Melbourne. And that
He
so
made
was
it all the way back. Yeah, cool.
so it was sort of seen as a success because it was only meant to. It wasn't. They wanted to come home to get the glory, but it was really just doing it. South to north was a success. So they were seen as the first Europeans to do it. So in a way, it wasn't all failure. It just ended a bit rubbishy.
I always had it in my head that they hadn't made it. For some reason, I knew it was something like they just missed out, and I thought they died like just as they were about to get to where they wanted to go. I didn't
Right.
realise they were 7 hours behind food.
Oh.
Idiots.
Yeah, I was the same. I knew the story as much as it was a couple of guys with beards who were in the desert and
And
they
it
died
didn't
there.
quite make it,
Yeah,
yeah.
didn't quite make it, but I didn't know anything more about it.
Yeah.
There has been, in 2011, there was a mock coronial inquest by the Legislative Assembly of Victoria, so the state parliament. They investigated the factors which may have contributed to the deaths of Burke, Wills and Gray. They found that Burke's appointment was a fundamental mistake.
Oh, yeah, no shit.
I'm not surprised to hear that.
We could have called that at the start of
Which-
this podcast.
which-
Oh, wait, we did.
which related to the deaths of Wills and Gray, and that all three men died of beriberi, starvation, dehydration, and thiamine deficiency, which is the coroner also suggested that one of the most fundamental errors made by the expedition was the decision not to utilise Aboriginal guides,
Yeah,
which seems pretty clear as well.
yeah.
If you sought out to bring in some Indigenous help as part of the expedition, it would have been a walk in the park. Well, comparatively,
Absolutely.
because they wouldn't have had to bring any food. They could just.
Get on the way, yeah.
I mean, I'm simplifying that way too much, but thanks so much, guys, for listening to my very interesting tale
Of
is.
the great Burke and Wills.
of love, loss, and laments.
I think it should just be called the King Expedition because he was king.
Yeah,
Poor
Yeah.
old
King
Kingy.
Street.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently named after the king of the day.
Charlie Gray was still my favourite.
Poor old Charlie Gray.
He was hard done by. Very interesting. Thanks, Matt.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you very much, Matt. So we'll be back next week. Jess Perkins.
Yes.
JP.
She has not revealed what she will be talking about, but I'm sure it will no doubt be a very interesting topic.
Hope so.
Thanks again for listening, guys. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Do go off.
Do go off. Right on.